We are Flake, Rose, and Spears, and we are Supremely Black. We have the honor of having a special guest on this week, Mr. Jahmal Cole from Chicago. Mr. Cole, how you doing emotionally this week?
Well, thank y'all for having me. I'm feeling upbeat. When I think about my emotions, I think about how it influences my behavior. And so, I definitely feel upbeat. I ran 3 miles today. I worked out. So I'm feeling vibrant. That's how I'm feeling, bro.
That's what's up. That's what's up. How about you, Flake?
It's your big kinfolk, Jay Flake, man. My emotions are in a good space. I'm happy and smiling. Just a lot of positive energy. There's been going on the last few days. So, hey, man, I'm all smiles here, and I'm emotionally okay. So that's what we're working with this week.
Let's go.
Yeah, this your boy D Rose, man. I'm in a great space. I actually, unlike Jahmal, I didn't get in my 3 miles a day. I've ran the last 2 or 3 days, so I took a break today. So I got me some paleo in, some sit-ups and some push-ups to keep my energy high. But overall, emotionally, I'm in a great space, so I can't complain at all. How about you, Spears?
Emotionally, I'm on a high. Just to have a man on that is creating a path similar to what we're walking down roads with our nonprofit as well, and then some political aspirations for one of us on the podcast and everything. So just to have him on, to talk to him, to learn from him, but then also to just hear his story, that's an emotional high. And then again, also just to hear that he runs as well. And, we're in the run group. I didn't get my 3 miles in today either because I had some other obligations, but just to know that, to see another powerful Black man, a king, taking care of his mind, body, and spirit is just a beautiful thing. So that's an emotional high just in itself. And then, everything that's been happening with us with the nonprofit and then, podcast and all of that stuff, I'm on an emotional high personally just off of that. So it looks like we all doing good this week, and that's a blessing. So blessings to y'all. So Mr. Cole, I just want to ask you to just give a brief overview about yourself, where you come from, what you do, why you do what you do, and then we'll get into a little bit more of, certain aspects of what you're doing in your community.
Yeah, well, again, thank y'all for having me. My name is Jahmal Cole. I'm a nonprofit leader. I'm a community activist. I've been fighting out the Chatham corner on the south side of Chicago for the last 12 years. I do what I do because, growing up, I watched Malcolm X so many times. I wanted to be like him. I didn't know what it meant, but I wanted to speak in front of beauty supply stores. I wanted to speak in front of currency exchanges, and I wanted to tell people the truth. My dad played a lot of Richard Pryor. He played a lot of Gil Scott-Heron and Malcolm X, growing up. And he always, my dad was an author. He always had a typewriter. And he was like, this next book gonna get me kicked out the country, son. And so he was always like writing, and he never finished it, but he was always writing. He ran for alderman when I was 11 years old. But even prior to him running for alderman, my dad was like a mentor in the hood. Like he would show up in the basketball courts, buy weed from the young men and still play ball and still still mentor them. And so my dad was always like the dude in the suit mentoring people in the hood. And so I grew up under that. Me and my father, we had a lot of struggles. We lived in a lot of homeless shelters. We lived in a lot of motels. We ate at Catholic charities, but my dad was always about hold your head up high and go eat that food, and unrealistically believe in your goals because you're gonna be a senator one day. So I had a great father. That's why I do what I do today. I run a nonprofit organization called My Block, My Hood, My City. I started it in 2013 by volunteering at Cook County Jail and writing rap lyrics with a young man as a form of therapy. And just getting to know the young men at the jail, I realized that they had never been downtown, even though they could see the Sears Tower from the jail, they'd never been. They had never waited for a taxi or been to the lake. Their whole worldview was shaped by the infrastructure of their neighborhood, like North Lawndale or a little village or Inglewood or South Shore or Roseland. And so I knew immediately I wanted to do something about that. And so I started taking young men from barbershops in the hood on educational field trips to expose them to different cultures and professions. So quick example, if there's 15 currency exchanges in a neighborhood and there's no banks, I take a kid to a bank to expose them to a bank and what the jobs are there. So Now we work with over 150 students a month in 15 different high schools. And we also work with over 100 block clubs in the city, helping them, improve the quality of life on their block however we can. And we also work with a lot of small businesses with our small business relief fund. So it's called My Block, My Hood, My City, because in the jail, everybody talk about their block and their hood, and we want to expand their worldview to their city. And I love what I do. And that's why I do it.
Awesome, awesome. And that was one of the reasons why we had reached out to you, because we heard about your nonprofit. I seen you, I Googled you first, and then I followed you on Instagram to see exactly what was going on with the Chicago movement and what you was doing. I see that you also, so let me ask you this. So since you are working with the youth, and you stated that some of them have never been outside of their neighborhood, never been downtown Chicago. Can you see that as maybe one of the problems that exists within not only Chicago community? I hear the same thing when I went out to visit LA, the same type of situation where they kind of pigeonhole themselves to that one neighborhood, and the beach is literally 15, 20 minutes away, never been outside that neighborhood. Do you think it's just the opportunity of not getting out of that neighborhood and seeing other things that's going on that possibly could get these young men to say, hey, I can actually, I'm good with numbers. I can work at a bank, or, maybe, I see a beach and I can swim pretty good at our local pool. Maybe I could be a lifeguard at the beach, or something like that.
Yeah, man. Like Jay-Z said it best when he said he had never left Marcy Projects his whole life until he got to sixth grade. And his teacher, she actually took him to Manhattan, and she took him to her condo. And when he got to her condo, she showed him an ice dispensary machine in a refrigerator. And when he saw that ice dispensary, he was like, man, I want to get a condo one day so I can give my mom an ice dispensary machine. And so like that fish out of water experience that Jay-Z had from going from Marcy Projects to Manhattan, that's exactly what we curate for teenagers every week in Chicago. So yeah, man, if you show people better, they can do better, right? But if they don't know no better, they can't do no better. So what we do is we believe exposure is key, and traveling is transformative. So it's really easy, man. You just take kids to a trading firm so they can learn about Microsoft engineering, or if they're interested in culinary arts, we take them to a chef downtown to teach them how to like run a restaurant. If they're interested in design, we take them to a hotel to learn about experience design. It's just, if they're interested in sports, instead of taking them to show how to hoop, we might take them to like who cuts the lawn at the football field. They get paid $250,000 a year. What are they doing? It's all about exposure to different jobs, and that's kind of what we do through our Explorers program.
That's dope. That's dope. So in 2013, what gave you, or what sparked the idea to start your nonprofit? Was it just being tired of seeing those conditions that you grew up in and that you see others going through, or was it just spark from your father? Because I read and I heard you talk about your father and how close you are, and so the example that your father set for you, what actually sparked that for you to decide, I'm gonna go ahead and do this in 2013?
Yeah, man, it was just trying to be like Malcolm X and just give speeches. I self-published a few books, and I used to sell them downtown Chicago in front of Foot Locker. And people would laugh at me every day. I wanted to quit every day. I was embarrassed every day. I didn't make no money every day. People laughed at me, shunned me, all that stuff. But somebody from Cook County Jail read the book and were like, "Oh, this is inspiring. Come to the jail and speak to the 18-year-olds." And so, I got to the jail and they said, "Oh no, we didn't say 18-year-olds. We said AT. It's an acronym for automatic transfer. And these young men and women are going to prison for 20 plus years. But before they go to prison, we need you to motivate them. So will you do it?" And so that pretty much got me into the jail. And when I got into the jail, I realized wearing a suit and tie, I wasn't connecting with people. So I just started putting on my hoodie and just start rapping, because that's what I loved doing growing up. And through rap, it just disarmed the students. I mean, it disarmed the people. I don't like calling people inmates. It just disarmed the residents there, and it allowed us to be vulnerable, and that built a bridge for us to connect. So that's kind of how I got into Cook County Jail.
Yeah. First and foremost, man, I commend for everything that you're actually doing within your community. I think that's dope, especially with the kids. I had I looked at a few of the YouTube videos and Googled as well, like Flake was saying. But for you, what do you think is the biggest thing that you've actually done within your community, and why? Like, what's the biggest impact you think you've had so far?
Well, I would say that's a great question. The biggest impact that I've had in the community, I would say, man, just seeing I have a 10-year-old daughter, and she gave her first speech 5 years ago at Earth Day. And I think that was just taking her to the alderman's office. And before we get there, we look at the lot IDs and see, hey, we need to give this lot ID to the alderman because there's a lot of trash. And the alderman needs to send the city to cut the lawn so we can pick up the trash at a volunteer event. So let's go talk to him. And I just teaching my daughter the fundamentals of, change isn't like Amazon Prime fast. It takes, levels to it. And so just teaching my daughter the levels to that has been really fun for me.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So moving on to your run for the House seat in Chicago.
Hold on, before we go there, I just got a quick question. What was your rap name?
Yeah. So my rap name, like in college, was J. Cole, but obviously, that dude, sent me to a deep depression. Hey, listen, if you look into Def Jam, if Def Jam has boxes of demo tapes, they gonna go back and be like, yo, this dude sent me 100 demo tapes as J. Cole. No, but his I'll give it to him. His MySpace page was better than mine. He figured it out. Like, yeah, man. That was my name, J. Cole. It's really my name. So, but in high school, my rap name was Books because I always told stories through rap. So everybody called me Books with like a backwards K. And so that's the name I was given. But J. Cole was the name that I used a lot. And I put out 4 albums in college. Every year I put out an album to pay my way through college. And it was always J. Cole.
Okay.
But I think me and J. Cole gonna do a song together. When I'm in Congress, I think we're gonna do a song. You watch, man. I'm speaking into existence right now. We're gonna do a song together.
I'm gonna be listening. I'm gonna be waiting on the J. Cole featuring J. Cole, aka Books. AKA Books.
Hey, them bars better not be trash either.
Never that, bro. Never that. So, not that.
Yeah, manifested now though. Manifested now. So back to what I was saying. Your run for the House seat coming up in 2022. What made you decide to take that stance? I read where you said it's time for the old people to get out and new fresh blood to come in, and to relate more to the youth and to the people that are of these times in this time now versus the old heads who still don't know how to work internet, do certain things. But what actually inspired you to make that run? Is it Malcolm X again, or is it something deeper than that?
Well, basically, man, salute to Congressman Rush. Obviously, he's a legend in the community. I want to preserve the legacy of somebody like that. That's paved the way for me. We stand on the shoulders of giants. So, he's been in office for 30 years. He was one of the founding members of the Black Panther Party, right? He's introduced and passed a lot of legislation. So, salute to Congressman Rush, man. What I was saying is that basically, man, I have been showing up in Chicago for a long time, man. I can give out, millions of dollars to block clubs, right? I could literally fund peace grants on major holidays to prevent violence, and there's still so many bodies. I can give emergency grants to families, businesses, and it's still gonna be people dying of poverty. I could pass out turkeys on Thanksgiving for the rest of my life, but people are still gonna be hungry on the 28th and 29th. On the 30th and the 31st, they still gonna be hungry. And that's because the problems that we facing or the challenges we facing are entrenched. They're not poor people problems. They're not nonprofit problems. They're policy problems, right? How come when people was breaking into businesses last year and looting, they were stealing basic toiletries, right? How come, there's more technology on the light poles in the classrooms? Every light pole in the hood got a blue light flashing, a microphone at the top, like you about to record a podcast, right? That's shot spotter technology. It costs millions of dollars a year, but ain't no counselors in the school. It's one counselor per 500 kids. How come it's police officers in school and metal detectors, ain't no counselors, right? Those ain't poor people problems. Those are policy problems, right? How come it's 15 currency exchanges and no banks in the neighborhood? How come when kids don't got internet, they got to go to McDonald's to use the Wi-Fi? How come it's more babies on the south side of Chicago being hospitalized because of asthma than anywhere else in the country? Those ain't nonprofit problems, bro. Those are policy problems. So I think that what we need is a partner in federal government that can go to DC and force the eyes of the nation on our city and let them see what problems we have. And so I'm going to articulate the issues better. And my arms aren't big enough to fight for mental health at the activist level. I mean, these kids ain't getting their guns from Dick's Sporting Goods. They're getting them from everywhere. So it's like we need federal resources to stand up to that. I can give my man $25,000 to fight violence on 4th of July. That ain't enough. So I want my arms to be bigger, and I want the stage. I want the stage. I want to be a part of great decisions being made, and that's why I chose to run for federal office.
Now, with that being said, I'm trying to choose my words wisely, but with that being said, it's not going to be easy, especially dealing with anything with legislation and the way that the country was built and established and how it was built and established on the backs of us. So when you do get pushback or when you do get told, no, this won't happen, do you think your voice will be heard louder in that seat than going the route as, I guess, one of your mentors as Malcolm X or whatever, and staying independent and doing things on an independent structural way versus actually infiltrating the system?
That's a great question. I feel like one of the things I'm gonna have to do is stand guard at the door of my thoughts and watch what I take in. But that's when I'm gonna start leaning on people like y'all. Like, I don't know everything. I'll be the first person to say, but if I have a network of people that can, I have a lot of ideas, but I want to put together a team of experts that can solve stuff. So if I can have access to y'all to, hey, what you think about this? What do you think about this? I think that's how I'm going to lean upon, my network. I standing downtown Chicago and selling books for a living. I got told no every day. So like on a good day, 2 out of every 100 people will buy a book, right? On a great day, 3 out of every 100 people will buy a book. No matter how good I did, 97 people still said no to me every 10 minutes, right? So, no, I don't even read, man. I don't even know, man, I'm gonna come back. So I'm used to adversity. I think my upbringing and my ability to handle adversity without succumbing to anxiety is gonna help me. I can take on multiple tasks without, losing my train of thought. I keep my word, and I think those are the skills that are gonna give me those are the leadership skills that are gonna allow me to make a difference in this race.
I think what you speak about, man, is really dope, because like you rarely ever get to see politicians that really come from that cloth that will go to run. And I think that's unique, because I think that connects more with the newer generation of people. Like, we don't want to hear you come in with the suit and ties. Like you said, they connected more when you came in with the hoodie, right? Like, we want to see people that actually walk in our hoods if they're going to be representing us, right? And a lot of people like to blame it as like a Chicago issue, and I know that's where you're running from. But what do you think is the most important part that every hood, every city could actually do, like that could have the same impact that you're doing with the Chicago to help curb the issue? Because we all know it's no longer just drill music in Chicago that we can blame it on. Everybody's doing it. Everybody's city is plagued with violence, lack of resources. So what are some things that you actually could share that you think could help as a unified approach that we all could follow as like a blueprint?
Yeah, bro, you hit the nail on the head. I mean, I think a lot of people don't understand violence, especially gun violence. Like, why does it exist? Like, I think that, there's racial and economic injustice, right? There's high incarceration rates, high unemployment rates, poor neighborhoods, under-resourced schools. Right? When you have those 5 conditions, I think the question isn't why is there so much gun violence? The question, why isn't there more? Like, that's a perfect storm for gun violence in Chicago. I think that we shouldn't be looking at homicide rates and seeing if we shouldn't say, oh, it's 1,000 homicides or 800. That's not a reflection of a city's success or failure at reducing homicide. We need to be looking at individual programs within communities seeing if they're effective, and can we expand on those broader strategies? Like, what are you doing in your community that's working? Like the solutions to the violence aren't copy pastable. Like what's effective in Atlanta, Georgia is not going to be the same in Chicago. And since Chicago has so many different neighborhoods, what's effective up north is not going to be the same as effective down south. Like a domestic violence dispute that ends up in a homicide is not the same to be policed as a drive-by shooting in Auburn Gresham, right? I think our police officers need to be trained in crisis intervention. They shouldn't be treating people the same when they pull people over. I think that also, I think that police officers should be active participants in the neighborhoods they serve. They need to be properly trained and held accountable. I have a lot of ideas, man. I feel like we shouldn't have squad cars parked in front of the high schools. I don't think that, I don't think you should have to take your belt off and your shoes off to go through a metal detector to get in school. I don't think that there should be qualified immunity where police officers get, they're exempt from any civil liability. I don't think that's fair. There's just so many things that need to be done, but most importantly, bro, we need a sense of urgency. There's no something. There was 60 people shot this weekend. No politician said nothing. Like we can't be desensitized to this. So when I go to Congress in DC, I'm gonna let them know what it's like to walk into Walgreens and see the baby formula locked up. I'm gonna let them know what it's like to have to order your breakfast through a bulletproof glass window. Right? I'm gonna turn up the sense of urgency. I'm not trying to make friends. I'm not trying to make people feel comfortable. I'm not trying to be part of the status quo. They think that they're progressive. They be saying, "Oh, this person." I'm aggressive, bro. You know how many times I've been shot at in the last year alone? Come on, man. So I just feel like we just need to turn up the sense of urgency and let people know that, we care about our youth, and also we not playing no games, bro. And so that's the sense of urgency I'm gonna bring.
You my type of man. You my type of man.
Hey, that's exactly what I was saying. I was sitting there saying in my head, I was like, let me catch myself here. You my type of brother. That's what I like to hear. I appreciate that. Yeah.
No doubt.
You really gonna have to tap into some of our previous episodes, because a lot of the gems that you're dropping and things that you're saying is things that we have talked about and articulated on our podcast. But besides that, my question is, are you feeling the support from your community partaking in this endeavor that you're going on? And have you always felt the support from your community from the nonprofit standpoint?
That's a great question, bro. I appreciate it. I feel like as a nonprofit leader, the media and people treat you differently than when you're a political candidate. And so it has been it's been challenging. It's been challenging. It's been hurtful a lot of times. It's been this road is so narrow you can't turn around. And so what I would say is that it's a part of the game. And when I'm learning the game, and so people that reach out to you on the nonprofit level and say, hey, if you ever need anything, reach out. They haven't been picking up right now, but it's a part of the game. And so what I lean upon is my faith. Every time I've challenged myself, I went to alternative high school, right? And I used to break into houses in 17 and tell my dad what I stole at night, right? I mean, I grew up rapping. Like I didn't think I was going to college. I went to college from an alternative high school. I walked onto the basketball team. I didn't know what I was doing. I made it happen. I graduated college. I started a nonprofit organization. Didn't know what I was doing, but I challenged myself. And so every time I challenge myself and I do what I love, I feel like God organically connects me to people that'll help me. And so I'm just following my path. And I believe I'm on the right path because of people that I'm meeting right now in my life. I can go into Lighthouse Restaurant in Hyde Park and meet the owner. And guess what? The owner, he's giving 10% of his proceeds to people on bail in Chicago, right? Like, whoa, I'm reading about this right now, bro. I'm like, everywhere I go now, I'm like, it's a learning experience I can't get anywhere else. And so I'm happy that I'm on my path, and I'm happy that I'm taking a stand with integrity for what I believe in. And I believe I'm gonna win. That's how I feel, so.
I'm liking everything I'm hearing from you, Mr. Cole. I just want you to make one promise to me, because I always say politicians are like a man dating a woman that's only out for one thing. That when they trying to get what they after, they in there kissing the babies, they in there meeting the parents and shaking hands and going to church. And once they get it, they gone. So I just want you to make a promise. I'm not in Chicago, I'm not in Illinois, but you'll stay in contact with the neighborhood and with the city, and let them know that you are there to be touched, to be filled on, to ask questions and be able to reach out to someone. You already doing a very positive thing with my block, my hood, my city. And then once you do get into Congress and one of those kids look up and say, you know, this man used to come and talk to me and take me places, and now he's sitting in Congress, he there with the suit on, he in DC, blah, blah, blah. So man, that's gonna be an outstanding lookout for you.
Hey,
I just
I appreciate
also,
that, bro.
yes, sir. I just also wanted to ask you also, because from the small town where I'm from, we had to write up in the paper of some criminal activity that happened. Small town, not a lot of criminal activity happened there, but it has been on the rise some. And one of the people in the paper just had the audacity to mention Chicago and say, hey, you know, where's the outrage? You know, if this would have happened in another city, Black Lives Matter would have showed up. Nobody's doing nothing about Chicago, this, then the other. And this is a person that ain't never been to Chicago, not even doing anything for the Black community in their city. Okay. So why do you think that every time something happened, this particular city pointed out, that's one, it's gonna be two-part. One. Second, I don't think people like you get what you deserve as far as when it comes from the media. So when I did my research, I found out, you know, you doing what you're doing. I also found out that, you know, my son, Chance the Rapper, and all these other people have also led protests, community outreach for the violence that's happened, whether it be on 4th of July, whether it be on just a random weekend. But the media doesn't always, they don't really cover that. You have to really dig and find out that these particular things happen. So why do you think it happens that way?
Yeah, two great questions, bro. I mean, Chicago's a beautiful city, man. Like we have some of the best architecture, food, and music in the world. Like I jogged down some of the most violent streets they say are the most violent streets. It's about 1,200 people doing the shooting in a city full of 3.5 million people. It's 1,200 people doing the shootings in a city of 3. Like think about that. Like like it's not like the media makes it seem. It's a beautiful city, man. It's a vibrant city, and people love their communities. So we the powers that be can control the media a lot of times, and they make it. You know, they might have not have grown up in the neighborhoods that they're showing. The cameras might come to your block and show a vacant alley or a boarded house. They might not show the $50 million science school on a block because they're just trying to portray something. Because that sells. I mean, you know, that's sexy. It sells in Chicago. As far as the you know, as far as the Chance the Rappers and the My Songs, you know, I think that kudos to them for using their platforms to talk about social impact work. But I mean, again, those are entertainers, right? I mean, when you're an entertainer, like, you know, you have a bigger platform. People want to, you know, they want to, like when I go on CNN in New York City and I start talking, they'll say, oh, like, you know, take that dude off. You know, he had a hoodie on, but he sounds like an English professor. Take him off TV. They don't want to hear people like articulating things the way I'm doing it, but they would much rather hear me saying, yo, hey, you know, let me holler at this thought, or let me do this on a block, or let me do this with this rock, or whatever. They love that, right? They love to dance and be elation. They love that, right? But when you actually show up on a block and you're trying to help people, like with using rap as a form of therapy, or when you're trying to help people get to the next level, that's not as sexy. So I don't take it personally. All I say is this, man, is like we have a lot of challenges in our city, and we need a lot of positive Black role models, man. We need Black men to actually show young Black men at 12 and 13 before the shooters can get to them, before the drug dealers can get to them. We need to show them that they can do better. And because by the time they get to 13 and go to jail, they're being influenced by people that's almost like going to college. And so we got to step up, man, as Black men and show our young men that they have opportunity. And we got to stop. Also, we got to start talking about these private prisons that are making a lot of money off of putting, you know, they're pushing money towards punishment instead of opportunities. You got these, when they get to jail, we got these solitary confinement that's increasing the time and the harm done. And we got to deal with that trauma when people get back home, they be messed up out of solitary confinement. So we got to guarantee rights for people that's incarcerated. We got to stop supporting policies that are putting people in jail. We have to stop investing in incarceration in this country and start spending more time and money on thinking about just reimagining what justice looks like in the country. Yeah.
So one of my last questions for you is, with everything that you just said, are you hopeful that you could be the spark that changes the narrative politically, institutionally, community-wise in your community, and also nationally? Because as we all know, Chicago is the stepchild that everybody likes to talk about, but this is happening in all inner city communities. This is happening all over America. This is something that is plaguing our communities directly because, again, the way things are set up, from food banks to, redlining to, education not being the same to, as you stated, where they getting these guns from? Like they just not falling out the sky, And so are you hopeful that you can be the catalyst in your community, or as your nonprofit goes, your block, your hood, your city, that actually gets things changed? Because I heard you say that you're aggressive, and being aggressive, especially in that city, I think is what's needed and what we lack a lot of times. We're passive aggressive most of the time. We're sitting back waiting for somebody to come and hand us something or to help us versus going to seek the change that we want. So are you hopeful that you could really impact your community the way that you hope to do?
Yeah, man. I'm over hopeful, bro. I over believe. Like like I said, I didn't know a food stamp wasn't real money until I put one in a pop machine and it broke. Like that's how I found I was on welfare. Right? Like me and my brother used to break into houses to eat cereal. Like, you know what I mean? Like the first time I ever had lasagna was when I broke into a house and I ate it and I was like, this is what it tastes like to be rich. Right? That's how I grew up. All my cousins went to jail. The people that taught me how to play John Madden and Bill Walsh football, they in jail for 40 years. Those are my role models. Taught me how to use chapstick and swim. Those are my role models, bro. I went from that to being a Chicagoan of the Year and having one of the most impactful nonprofit organizations in the country. I went to the All-Star game with Barack Obama. Like, you know what I mean? I went from that to that. So I know my life ain't mine. I just know that if I study as hard as I can, if I remain humble as I can, if I do more than people expect to make a best investment in my future, and I know if I ain't no sucker, that God is gonna continue to like lead me. So I want my life to be used to bend history. Like that's all I want to bend history in my life. And so yeah, man, hell yeah, I'm very hopeful. I believe I'm gonna win, and I believe I could be a president. But at the same time, man, I just got to make sure that the symbolism of my position leads young Black men and young Black women to say, hey, man, I could rise above my circumstances too. If he can do it and he can still spit hot 16s with J. Cole, then I know I could do it. So I just got to just stay in tune with the community.
Hey man, you all right with me? This is my last question as well, man. I think you give me the fire of Malcolm X, so I definitely think that's dope. But the way that you're able to connect the community gives me Chairman Fred Hampton vibe. So give me that perspective that I'm pretty sure that you've taken, because I've looked at a few of your videos. How's that gotten you into those rooms or those conversations that people may have avoided just based off of what you present in the walk of life that you come from? But you give me a little Fred Hampton. So tell me of how really mending, how we know Chicago is very segregated. How has that really helped you out with your nonprofit and as you continue to go for the run?
Yeah, man, Chicago is one of the most segregated cities, unfortunately, in the country. The distinction between the Black, the brown, and Hispanic neighborhoods is super visible, and that's caused these diverging or these separate community areas. That racial division is important, not only because it signifies like a lack of cultural integration, but segregation that creates social and economic just like struggle for people, right? And there's just a lot of struggle. But as far as like Fred Hampton, come on, I take my students to visit the West Side Justice Center every year, and And, you know, Fred Hampton, he started the food program, right? That free lunch program, like he was running nonprofits before nonprofits were in existence. You know what I mean? He was young. And so I have an Explorers program that's modeled off of the free food program. And so, yeah, man, and even Congressman Rush, like I said, he was a member of the Black Panther Party. And I have nothing but admiration for them. But what I took from Fred Hampton, man, was that he wasn't afraid to speak his mind. He wasn't afraid to meet people on the block level. He had a track record of helping people, and he always showed up. And so when I look at my race, that's what it's all about. It's about running the race with purpose and passion, with hunger and humility, with energy and empathy, and also just revitalizing the spirit of the South Side of Chicago and bringing about change to the First District. So yeah, Fred Hampton is a legend, man. Stokely Carmichael, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, you know, like Robert Kennedy, all those people, man. My dad played them on a record player growing up. No music, just always the speeches. And so I grew up listening to those people, and man, I mean, God is great, bro. God is great, and I'm living my dream. So.
Yeah, you can definitely tell he raised a real one, man. So appreciate you, brother.
Thank you, bro. No doubt.
Now I noticed your T-shirt. It says Medicare for all.
Yeah.
What is your plan and explanation behind that?
Yeah, well, I mean, healthcare is a human right? And so it's time for us to pass Medicare for all. Nobody should have to ration out their medicine because they can't afford it. Like some people avoid going to the hospital altogether because they got to choose between a copay or a hidden fee and paying for some groceries, right? I just don't believe that no family should be crippled by medical debt, but that's the number one reason that people go into bankruptcy in this country is medical debt, right? I feel like the youngest and the oldest Americans are left behind by our healthcare system. So I was just reading the other day that 25% of all Americans say that they or a family member that had to postpone medical treatment for a serious medical condition because of cost. So what Medicare for All does is that it says that regardless if you go to hospital, the pharmacy, or your doctor, right, you can go there without the burden of having your healthcare attached to your place of employment. So you don't have to say, oh, you have to go to this network or go to that network or go 45 minutes away. You can go anywhere under Medicare for All. So with Medicare for All, it's a single payer healthcare system that guarantees affordable healthcare to every American. Because again, healthcare should be a human right. So if you're looking to have in vitro and get pregnant, if you're looking to have counseling, if you're looking to have mental health, if you want dental, whatever you need, that's free. And we're America, like we're behind. A lot of countries like Canada and England are already doing this. So I'm for Medicare for All, and I think we need to really push it. That's why I wear it all the time.
Yeah, I work in medical billing on my regular 9 to 5, and I just had to ask that question. And some of those struggles that you're talking about, I definitely hear them when I talk to some patients, and I understand they plight and struggle on that. So yeah, I don't think that's a bad idea at all. And I just leave it at that, just in case somebody might pull me hear this and be like, "Now we need all our money, Jay Flake. Get up out of there."
Hey, I want to learn more from you though, because that's I want to, instead of talking about policies, I want to talk about stories, man. I want every story to lead to a policy. People don't care about policies, man. They care about stories. And so you probably heard it all, seen it all, dealt with it all. And we need to put those stories on Front Street so people can actually get us. Like when I grew up, we went to the emergency room when we got sick. That caused a lot of bills. Just most people don't have a primary healthcare physician. You know what I mean? Most people don't know how to get mental. When it comes to mental health, in my household, we always don't ever talk about what's in the household, outside the household. Don't let nobody know. Like that's a lot of people say that, and so we don't really talk about mental health in the community. I think, but under Medicare for All, we can have counselors and therapists and things like that. So
That's very true. That is very true. And there's a lot of stories, and we'll be on here for another 2 hours if I told you all the stories. But yeah, but you're right. People don't want to hear about the past. They want to hear about what Grandmama Jenny went through, and bring that to the forefront, and they might change their mind. Because it is situations where I get phone calls every day. Somebody who's 70 plus, and they having struggles paying medical bills where they thought it might have been paid all together, and it's a situation where they saying I should know anything, and I'm looking at the account like, well, XYZ insurance provider states you are responsible for this $200 bill, and they like, man, only Yeah, I'm on Social Security, man. I'm barely making it by with what I got now. So those are sad situations. And as far as my company go, we try to help out as much as possible. Is there things that we could do better? Yeah, it is. It is. But yeah, it gets sad sometimes, to be honest with you. It really gets sad, and man, it's a struggle sometimes sitting back and hearing those stories.
Well, I'm gonna fight, man. I'm going to DC to fight for that. They ain't seen nobody like me out there. They haven't seen nobody like me there, bro. They haven't, and I know that. Like, they're progressive. I'm aggressive. You're gonna see. You're gonna see. They're gonna see what an activist is really like in DC real soon. So.
Mr. Cole, I don't have a question for you, but what I do want to do is encourage you. And I just want to leave you with some words of encouragement. I know you've been through a lot just from reading about you, but then also hearing you talk about your upbringing and everything. But I want you to know that when it gets tough, when it gets hard, when it seems like you want to give up, don't. Keep fighting, because you are somebody that the world needs, not just America, not just Chicago, not just Illinois, but the world needs. So if you ever feel down on yourself, if you ever feel like you fighting a losing battle, just know that you got people here supporting for you, praying for you, interceding on your behalf, and who believe in you and what you're trying to do. And we know it's not going to be easy. We know that you know it's not going to be easy, but don't never stop fighting, because you do have people looking after you. Just like Malcolm X was one of your people you looked up to, or your heroes. You are somebody's hero, and somebody that, somebody's looking up to you. So I just want to encourage you with that and let you know that, shoot, we just met you, but we love you, we support you, and we got you. So we're here for you. If you need anything from Supremely Black, don't be afraid to reach out. Again, me and Rose also have a nonprofit. And so we trying to do some of the same things that you do from an activism standpoint, but then also from a community aid standpoint. And so we are here with you to fight this fight. And one thing that we have talked about getting together is a Black coalition, but not with celebrities at the helm, because celebrities, to a certain extent, forget where they come from or lose touch of the people who are still in the struggle while they're doing okay. And so if you ever want to link up, so like you said, we could share stories, we could talk about policy, so we could create something that's actually going to be beneficial for us as a whole versus just some and a few. We are here with you. So again, we have an open door policy. We're here for you. We support you and we love you. And I just wanted to say that on behalf of Supremely Black and just encourage you.
Thank you, Spears. Appreciate that, bro. And yeah, man, we definitely need to link up, bro. It needs to be 1,000 people like us. So I'm 100%, bro. Nonprofit wise, we definitely can link up and synergize together and just help take care of people no matter what. So yeah, man, just reach out. Let's do it, bro. For real.
That's real. And I appreciate you joining us and taking the time out to go through this with us and join our podcast. I really do appreciate you talking about your upbringing and your past and things you have done, because a lot of times when you get somebody who's running for office who get a name behind themselves, they really don't want to talk about that much. Just say, oh, my past is rough, and they just leave it at that. But if you're gonna deal with the youth and you're gonna deal with these kids, and you're gonna bank on your story, your upbringing, and be aggressive in Congress, people need to hear that story and know that, hey, I can turn a page around just because I might have been doing this or that. I had to go to the shelter to eat food. I had to break into the house and just to eat, that it can be turned around and you can make a difference within your community, within your city. As I always say,
They can't rap better than me, bro. They can't rap better than me.
I can't wait to hear these bars, son. I can't wait to hear these bars.
I'm gonna get the mixtape though. The mixtape. They have to make a contribution. I'm putting out the mixtape.
Yeah, but to Flake and Spears' point, man, we definitely here to support you, man, brother. Just reach out, let us know, whatever. And like as you were saying, A lot of people kind of try to sell their struggle, but then when we look into it and we dive into their background, they really was Malibu's most wanted besides actually being in the hood. So, we know how that goes, man. But, peace, blessings, and, solitude and prosperity, brother. We're here with you. So anytime you want to join again and, express yourself or just hit us up behind the scenes, we can definitely keep it real without the lights, camera, and action, and let's get together, let's build, let's work. And but peace and blessings to everything you're doing, man. And hopefully, God continues to cover you, brother.
Bro, I love y'all, man. Y'all, it's really good energy. So let's do this again before I get to DC, but also in DC. Let's do it again. It'll be good, man. Just next, that'd be awesome, man. We're gonna be there. I'm speaking into existence. So let's do it.
Yes, sir.
I got one
give me a
ask.
suit.
I got one ask of you. After you win, let us be your first interview. After you win, let us be your first interview.
Bro, I will let y'all do it the first morning I'm in DC. I already see what I'm gonna be wearing that day. I already see how what I'm gonna be eating that. My right hand, my lady, she's got a lot of people out in DC, but I already see that morning. So I would love for y'all to be a part of that morning. Let's do it, bro. Let's do it.
Okay.
For real. I love the name of y'all podcast. I just love everything about it. And y'all got great energy. So let's do it. Why not?
Yes, sir.
Why not?
So one more thing. We do a thing called Black Business Minute. And so every time we record, we shout out a Black business. So because you are our guest and you are on, I want you to shout out your nonprofit. Tell the people about your nonprofit. Tell them the website so they could come and donate. They could help or do anything. So just shout out your nonprofit for our Black Business Minute this week.
Cool. Again, thank y'all for having me. My name is Jahmal Cole. I'm the founder and CEO of My Block, My Hood, My City. Our website is formyblock.org. We don't have any traditional programs. Our mission is to take care of people no matter what. If it's a snowstorm, we show up and shovel snow for seniors. If it's a heat wave, we deliver water and deliver fans. Throughout the pandemic, we helped 8,000 seniors from 12 different states. We connected them to primary healthcare positions. We did contact tracing and shipped them food. When a lot of local businesses closed down because of the pandemic, we used our Instagram page to raise $2 million in one day. And we gave that money to over 300 businesses in Chicago. We're doing it again this year. We show up for people no matter what. Like if it's a meteor that hits the world, we're gonna be out there. And we like the Red Cross of the hood. So go to formyblock.org and support My Block, My Hood, My City. And we love y'all, and the city show us love, and we return it like Devin Hester, man. So thank y'all.
Yeah, that's our Black Business Minute for the week. Flake, you got our Supremely Black Person of the Week?
I swear this is why I reached out to this brother right here. Because this type of stuff needs to be said. This type of stuff needs to be known that people don't have no clue about because they rather be lazy and just call out something instead of going out, doing a research, or either getting off your ass and going there and looking for your own self, So I appreciate that, man. You got me hyped like I'm on the team. You know what I'm saying?
Everybody.
I was sure about to say, slow down, Flake, slow down.
It's about to get me preaching and I'll start sweating, But
y'all be safe, man. Thank you for having me though, bro.
Hold on, before we get finished, we gotta do our Supreme Black Person of the Week, and I gotta call an audible. This is the second time I've called an audible on our Supreme Black Person of the Week, and our Supreme Black Person of the Week is gonna be Congressman Cole. We're gonna put it to existence right now. He is gonna be our Supreme Black Person of the Week with the information that he gave. I ain't gotta give you the history. He gave y'all all the history already on why this man should be our Supreme Black Person of the Week. We put in the air Congressman Cole. He gonna be on DC. If you're in that area, if you're in the Illinois area, you better get out. You better vote. You better do everything you can to make sure this man gets in office. All right.
Let's go.
With that being said, all our queens out there, put your crown on, tilt that thing to the side, let them know you are a queen. For all our kings out there, put your crown on, tilt that thing to the side, let them know you are a king, and you are not 3/5 of anything, but we are supremely black, and we out.